Hey guys, what's good, what's happening, and what's going on? I got something to show you. This is kind of ridiculous. So, I went out last night before streaming and bought some steak because I really wanted to eat steak today. Now, you guys remember back in the day when I used to do the barbecue videos in the garage that I'd go out and buy a steak and potatoes and all that junk, all the fixins, the rice and whatever I'd have with it. Oh, someone needs some cat food. So like pre-COVID, steak was like not too bad. 10 bucks got you a pretty good piece of steak. Post-COVID, that changed. Butcher's Choice by Loblaws, beef sirloin tip steak, cut from Canada, a double A or higher. $22.17 for almost 2 pounds. There, I just cleaned the lens on my camera so it didn't look so hazy. I gotta figure out why that keeps happening and how I can solve that permanently. But anyway, $22 for steak. Now, my complaint about this is it literally shot up 470% in price. I used to pay $9 for that. Okay, my math is probably wrong on the percentage. But I used to pay $9 for that. Now it's $22. I don't know what the percentage on that is. Mathematics was never my favorite subject. Actually, it was, but we're probably talking about like 150% increase on price. Why? Why is that the case? Like, chicken is still relatively cheap, but beef is not. It doesn't make sense. I say relatively cheap, but chicken actually went up a lot in price. For 20 bucks, you can get these 6 fillets that are kind of shit. Like, their size is garbage. I'm a little upset by this, especially because the quality of the meat is not that great. It's not like a T-bone or anything. But I went to Independent and looked at the price of T-bones. The price of T-bones today is the price of tomahawks from back in the past. This is getting out of hand. So what really pisses me off is you go there and you pay for this overpriced meat, and then you go to the register to pay, and they ask if you want to donate money to charities. And I'm just like, why? You're gouging the shit out of us already on the product. I'd like to know what farmers are selling their meat for to these companies like Loblaws and other industries like No Frills and all that, because I want to know where this greed is coming from. Is it from the Loblaws people? Is it from the farmers? Is it due to the carbon tax? I guess we'll find out soon if we end up going into an early election, because there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the parliament right now with all this new stuff coming up about our current leader guy, prime minister. Apparently he's not the honest guy you all think he is. Okay, so we'll have to see what happens, because I know that Pierre Poilievre said he gets in. First thing he's doing is cutting the axe in the tax. And then he's going to be running a Bring It Home campaign. Because a lot of businesses fled Canada and went to the US, like Heinz Ketchup, to name one of them. Because operating in Canada was too damn expensive to do, and operating out of the US was more feasible. And because of this, it's super funny. Like, Dad was like, stop buying Heinz Ketchup, they're an American company now. Stop buying this product because they're an American company now. It doesn't really matter. Like, even in the US, there's people like John Deere is thinking about moving manufacturing to Mexico because it can be cheaper. This is John Deere. This is like America, John Deere, you know? And they want to move their plants to Mexico. You look at all the automotive dealers out there that have already done this. General Motors, for one. A lot of their products are made out of Mexico. The cars aren't assembled out of Mexico, but a lot of the components they get are done in manufacturing in Mexico. So, yeah, I don't know if the US has a cap and trade carbon tax system in place, but like I said, Pierre Trudeau wants to axe the tax, get rid of the carbon tax, and he wants to do a tax-free Bring It Home so that we can get these companies that were once Canadian back on Canadian soil producing their products, because this is getting out of hand. It's been proven that we do not have anywhere near a pollution problem that needs to be taxed. Also, how is that money being used to save the planet? It's not. It's really not. Like, other countries have already proven that certain things that are happening, like carbon tax and mail-in voting and all that, is fraud. It's too easy to fraud the system. And for some reason, us Westerners decide to jump on the bandwagon once it's been proven that it's garbage. Like we think we can do it better or something, or we can make it fraud-free because we're from America and Canada, Western. First world countries, we can do it right, you know? It's so dumb. It's so dumb. But I don't know. There's also this talk of the Canadian government saying like we need to lower our carbon footprint even further by 2034. We need to have all electric cars, no more gas cars to be sold on the market anymore, strictly electric. Here's the reason why that doesn't work out. Now you're probably thinking I'm going to be like, oh, it's because of the cold weather. It's not going to work out because it's all cold and stuff. That's one problem. My buddy has a Tesla. In the summer, he gets 565 kilometers per battery load. And come winter, he gets about 175 to 200. And it's not because the battery gets cold and discharges. The battery can regulate its own temperature, and it doesn't take much electricity for it to do that. The problem is when you got to use the HVAC system to keep the climate in the car warm enough where the windows don't frost up and you don't freeze to death. It's an electric-based heater. I gave him a stupid idea to try this year, and he actually went out and bought one, and we'll see how well this works. My little camping battery down here, my little solar generator. Yeah, he's gonna bring it in the house, charge. He bought one like this. I think he bought the Jackery. He's gonna bring it in the house, charge it up, and hook it up to like one of those ceramic heaters or an infrared heater, whatever. He's gonna hook it up to something like that that's efficient in power consumption, however, also super efficient in heating. Now, I heated my entire house last year when my furnace exploded with one of those ceramic heaters, and it actually did the job well. I bought this thing last year when my furnace died, and I was able to plug it in, set the temperature. Didn't really do the temperature right. I'd set it to 68, and up here it would read 72. So obviously it's pulling the heat from down below, not up high. This is pulling the heat from up high, not down below. However, it came up clutch and it worked perfectly. Like it did the job. So he's got something like that he's gonna hook up to his Jackery. He already tested it. He can run it for about 4 hours before the Jackery is completely depleted. If he runs it constantly, like he tried it in his house and running constantly, it read 4 hours. Now the thing is if you set the temperature to be like, lock the car at 68, it'll lock the cabin at 68. And when it drops, it'll kick it back on, kick it off, kick it on, kick it off, kick it on, kick it off. Giving you a bit more battery time, right? So we're waiting to see the results of that. But the main reason why I say electric cars are not feasible yet is because we don't have the infrastructure, the power generation to maintain the population of Canada charging their cars. So like the USA is bigger than Canada in population. I think we have more land mass, but a lot of it's just not inhabitable or comfortable to inhabit. We got about 38 million people in Canada, all right? So imagine 38 million people. Let's say that 8 million doesn't drive. We'll just throw that number out there. So 30 million people go out and buy an EV. Now, let's just use Tesla, for instance. Now, to charge a Tesla, it takes anywhere from 57 kilowatt hours to 100 kilowatt hours. At 30 million people, dude, we do not produce that much power. I'm not saying everybody on Sunday night is going to plug in their Tesla and start charging it, even if it was varied. And that's what's going to happen is they're going to release a statement like after in 2035. If they don't resolve this power problem, they're going to release a statement being like what they did with the water when we were in a drought. We had a water supply issue back in, I want to say 2008, and it was released where if your address ended in an even number, you could use the outside water to water your lawn or wash your car on even days. So like the 2nd, the 4th, the 6th, so on and so forth. If your house ended in an odd number, then you could do it on odd days. I don't know if that's still in effect now that they charge you by the usage, but this is like base billing. Like you're basically charged based off of what you had in your house for like how many toilets you had, how many sinks you had, how many showers did you have, how many spigots outside did you have for water, and they would bill you a flat rate based on that, not consumption. Now they base you on meter cubed consumption. So if you want to water your lawn and your house is like 123 something Boulevard, I couldn't name drop there, sorry about that, and you were like watering your lawn on the 4th, it didn't matter because you were paying them for this consumption. Unfortunately, electricity isn't the same deal. We got to produce this electricity. We got to harvest it somehow, either through motion, either through solar light, solar radiation. It's got to be harvested. Like a nuclear plant, we'd have to build like 30 nuclear plants across Canada just to maintain the amount of power needed to be able to everybody charge their cars and keep them running. Imagine calling into work one day because you can't come in because it wasn't your turn to charge your car and your car is dead, and you can't call an Uber because they don't have power either because it wasn't their turn to charge their car. How many of you at night forget to plug your cell phones in? You know, you go to bed, you forget to plug your cell phones in, you wake up to a dead phone, you put it on the charger for like 5 minutes for heading off to work, you get about 30-40% charge, and then you're just like, shit, this is all I got for the day. You imagine that with your car, because a lot of people will just forget to plug in their car. And it's not like you'd have to have it in an enclosed place if you're charging it at home. You can't just have a charger on your front lawn and plug it in. You'd want to keep that secured so you know people aren't coming over while you're not home and borrowing your power to charge up their cars. You know, I'm gone for 8 hours a day. Imagine if I had a charger on the side of my driveway, on the side of my garage to plug my my Tesla into. I go to work at 8 a.m. and then I come home to somebody's random car in my driveway sucking up my hydro and I'm getting billed for it. You'd want to keep that like in your garage locked away. So you'd always have to park your car in the garage to charge it. I don't know, man, like, to me, this electric car age, it still needs a lot more R&D before it becomes a feasible solution, which is why I don't understand this push for electric cars in 2035. And you're thinking, Adam, that's 10 years away. But you know what else is 10 years away? 2015. And look at how quickly 2015 became 2024. Soon 2025. Like, we're 1 month away from 2025, people. Just keep that in mind. 10 years ago was 2015. So yeah, that's nuts. Like 8 years ago, I bought my truck. All right. Time is flying. 10 years isn't that far off. Will there be advancements in the cars by then? Let's freaking hope so, because if we're forced to drive those, it's gonna suck. Carbon tax is dumb. Carbon tax doesn't work. We already know that. We're not the ones producing all this pollution in the world. We're not the one producing all these greenhouse gases that Greta Thunberg is all pissed off about. What she needs to do is get off her stupid high horse, go over to places like the Philippines, go over to places like China, where they don't give two shits about the pollution, and start protesting there. Sure, she'll probably get a bullet in the head because, well, they don't put up with nonsense and bullshit over there when you start oppressing the government. But she needs to leave the West alone because we're not the freaking problem. Like Canada alone produces 1.4% of the total world pollution. 1.4%. If we negate that, is it gonna really make an impact? No. So what is this carbon tax for? Is this carbon tax so that we can give it to other countries that are polluting more so they can use it to pollute less? Do you honestly think they're going to use that money for that? No, they're going to use that money for something else, for anything else. They don't care about pollution, so we got to quit doing that. And not that I'm trying to hike up Pierre Poilievre or anything. I just believe that he's on board with everybody else in Canada with the fact that this carbon tax is the dumbest thing ever. Being billed more at the pump, dumbest thing ever. Being billed heavily on heating your house, having this tax that gets taxed on top of that, because the carbon tax gets the HST tax we have here in Ontario. I'm not sure what everybody else is calling it, but so the carbon tax is, and in April it's going up another 150%. So that's awesome, right? Because people can totally afford to live now. Let's just really put the guts to them, right? I don't know, man. It's driving me crazy. The way the government is. Like back in the day, the liberals were more like how the conservatives are now. I don't know. I don't understand where this paradigm shift went. Like the liberals were all about free speech. The liberals were all about human rights. The liberals were all about making things affordable. And now it's like the conservatives up here in Canada, at least, are all about bringing industry back to Canada, making it more affordable for industry to run. And a lot of people go, oh, that's just so they can make their buddies' wallets bigger and more money and stuff. Well, I'm sorry to say, but importing goods causes it to go up in price. We need these companies to make the goods here in Canada. If they get rich doing it, it's because they did something right during their life to own this company. Whether it was just being born into the right family or they put in the blood, sweat, and tears to get to where they are. Anybody can do that. Anybody can put in blood, sweat, and tears and get somewhere. If you don't push for it, you'll never have it. And bitching that somebody else has it, well, do you no good. I know you guys hate these walk and talks. I know. My next video, though, I plan on starting the tackle Project Purge, I'm gonna call it. I got some work to do upstairs. I got some work to do down here. A lot of work to do down here. I got some tinkering and some printing to do for down here. I gotta clean some shit up, get some shit organized. A lot of these sups can go back on their respected shelf. That one's empty. I don't even know why I'm keeping it. But yeah, I figured I would drop a video about that. So electric cars, we're not ready for it. We still have 10 years. Hopefully they put more into it by then. What the hell is that? Oh, okay. Hopefully they put more technology into the car, because right now as it stands, they're not great. They're not great. They're good, better than what they were, but they're not great. As far as the carbon tax goes, that needs to go. Canada is not the problem on the world pollution issue. They need to focus their efforts elsewhere. And yeah, as far as elections go, I guess by the time this comes out, we already know who won in America, so go whoever that is. Except for ABC News, I believe it was, who accidentally aired Kamala won, and they're still in election, so that's kind of scary, because the same thing happened with Joe Biden when Trump was in the lead, like 2-3 days prior to the polls closing and the poll counts being put up. They aired that Biden won, and it's like, uh-oh. So is this going to be another Riggaroo election? Who knows? I guess we'll find out. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you did, like button. Questions, comments, concerns, down below to go. Until next time, guys. Live it to win it. Peace the frig out. Sit, stupid, sit. Good dog.